Welcome to this Fusion 360 tutorial. In this video, I will cover designing these wheels for this RC car. They have openings that will secure a silicone tire to the wheels. You can cast a silicone tire using a mold, like this one, which we'll also design in this video. Let's start by designing this wheel. I'm going to start with a fresh document. I'll create a sketch on the XY plane. In this sketch, I'm going to start by creating a center diameter circle. I'll make it 3 millimeters. I'll create another center diameter circle, also at the origin. I'll make this one 40 millimeters. This inner circle will be the innermost circle of our wheel, and this outer circle will be the outermost one. I'm going to create a series of offsets now. First, from this inner circle. A 2 millimeter offset. This will create a profile that will be the main hub of our wheel. Next, I'm going to create a series of 3 offsets from this outer circle. These offsets will be negative. The first one will be negative 1.6. The second one will be negative 3. The third one will be a negative 4.6. You should now have a series of 3 selectable rings on the outside of your wheel. Next up, we're going to draw some lines. Using the line tool, I will select a construction line. I'll start the line at the origin and place the other point all the way at the outer circle. We want this line to be constrained so it's vertical. Make sure it snaps like that. This next line will also start at the origin and will go to this second circle. Doesn't matter where you place it. I'm going to use the dimension tool to dimension these 2 lines. Selecting these 2 lines should give me an angle dimension. I'll set my angle to 10 degrees. It's time to continue drawing lines. Using the line tool, this time we'll deselect construction lines. This line is going to go from the end of this construction line to the innermost of the outer circles. If you can get it to do this parallel constraint snap, go ahead and use that. If that doesn't work for you, and you can't get it to constrain, you can always add the constraint later by selecting the parallel and the 2 lines you want to be parallel. We're going to draw a couple more lines. This next one is going to be a construction line. From the end of this line we just drew to the next circle, and then a non-construction line from the end of that line to the next circle. Again, these should all be parallel with each other. We're going to use these to create some profiles that we can extrude later. But first, we got to make copies of these by using the mirror tool. With the mirror tool, select both these lines. For the mirror line, select this center line. You should see previews of the lines that you're going to create with the mirror. Go ahead and hit OK. You should now have these selectable profiles. And that's it for this sketch. Alright, let's do the extrudes to create our wheel. Let's use the extrude tool. For this first extrude, we'll select everything on the outer ring of our circle, and we'll extrude it by 10 millimeters. When you do the first extrude from a sketch, it usually hides the sketch. You'll want to show the sketch again by clicking on the little eye next to the sketch, because we're going to use it to extrude some more profiles. Press E or the extrude button again. We're going to extrude this center profile by 3 millimeters. Next, we're going to extrude this middle profile, this connector, also by 3 millimeters. I'm going to add some fillets to smooth things out and add a little strength. The first edge I'm going to fillet is right here. And I'm going to do a nice big fillet on this one, 5 millimeters. So it connects well to the wall of our tire, or our wheel here. Then, I'm going to add another fillet. This one, I'm going to do these two edges. A little bit smaller this time. Maybe even smaller. For these fillets, you can choose your own size. Changing the size of the fillets will change how well the tire is attached to things at different points. My third set of fillets, I'm going to do these two edges right here. Two millimeters sounds good for those. Alright, now I'm going to do our first circular pattern. If you go into create, pattern, circular pattern, you can create a circular pattern. This time, we're going to pattern some features. I'm going to ask you which features to select. Select the extrude. That's the last in the chain down here. And then all of these fillets that you also added to it. When selecting the axis, select the blue Z-axis. My pattern seems a little overloaded here. 20 is far too many. I'd suggest a number like 6. 4 is perhaps the lowest that I would go. 8 seems like maybe too many. You can, of course, do an odd number. That'll just look slightly different. I'm going to roll with 6. But you can choose whatever you want. Alright, we've got a couple more features to create here. Let's create another sketch. This time, we're going to create the sketch on this plane. Once in the sketch, go to Create, Project Include, Project, and select your object. If we hide the body, we can see that there are 2 lines that have been projected into our space from the body. I'm going to create a construction line that goes between them from midpoint to midpoint. Along this construction line, I'm going to create a center diameter circle, not a construction line. If you slide your mouse along this midline, you'll notice that it should snap at a midpoint with a little triangle indicator. Create your circle at the midpoint. The circle should be 4 millimeters in diameter. That's it for that sketch. Nice and easy. Bring back the body of your wheel. We're going to do a couple more extrudes. First off, start the extrude command. Select this profile right here in your wheel. Go over here to extend type and select all. It should see that you want to cut straight through your entire wheel. If it doesn't, select Operation Cut, and perhaps you may need to flip the direction of your cut. Go ahead and hit OK. We're going to create another cut with this profile that we just made. Start the extrude command again and select that circle profile. For start, choose Object and select the outer ring of your wheel. For direction, we want one side, and distance will change to 2 object. And for the object, we'll select this inside plane on the hole. It's cuts a hole straight through, and stops at the inner plane there. Go ahead and hit OK to finish the operation. Once again, we're going to create a circular pattern. Again, it will pattern features, and we'll select these last two extrudes we did. We'll go around the z-axis, again, the blue axis. You could also probably use any of these circles in the center, but we'll select the axis. For this one, use 8 as the quantity. It doesn't matter how many spars you put in the middle. For this one, we use 8. Makes a good separation of the little attachment points while not creating too many of them. Go ahead and hit OK. You should now have a series of holes around your wheels. And your wheel is complete. Alright, let's start designing our mold. This is also where we'll design the tread of our wheels. We'll start by creating a sketch on the XY plane, and then a center diameter circle right at the origin. I'm going to enter 43 for mine. This will give me a 3mm radius of tired. I'm going to go over here and hide that first body and this other sketch. I'm going to start with a line, construction line, from the center of the circle to the outer edge, constrained vertically. I'll draw a second line horizontally out here in space. A third line, a construction line, will connect these two lines. I'll go from the middle point of this line to the end point here. Make sure this line is vertical. I'll draw another non-construction line from the end of this line to the edge of our circle. Now it's time for some dimensions. Use the dimension tool and select these two lines to find the angle between them. I'm going to put in 125. Next, dimension this horizontal line. I'm going to enter 6. Thirdly, dimension this line right here. I'm going to enter 1.5. Seems like this dimension didn't work for me. Or I have 2 lines. All things can be fixed with time and fusion. Here we go. Lastly, I'll mirror this line right across this mirror line right here. So I get a selectable profile, just like this. Now we could, at this point, pattern these 3 lines around our circle in the sketch. But then when we're extruding, we'd have to select each one of those individual profiles. And that'll be kind of annoying, so we'll do that a different way. I'm going to create a rectangle, a center point rectangle, starting at the origin to create a boundary for all this. 50mm worked well for me as a size for this. Go ahead and finish your sketch. On second thought, let's add one more center diameter circle. 3mm right here in the middle. We're going to extrude our sketch now. Select everything but that tiny little inner circle and extrude it by 3mm. Bring back your sketch. Select these 2 profiles to extrude. And start at an object. Select the top face of this object you just extruded. And then extrude by 10mm. Finally, we'll do one more extrude of this profile of our tread. Start at the top face of this object. Choose extent type to object to the bottom face down here to cut out the tread of our tire. Now when we create a circular pattern, we can just select the one feature that was our extrude, pattern it around our center axis, and there we go. For this pattern, you'll want to select a number that makes your objects almost interact, if not overlap. I like 16. We're going to make this a double mold by using a rectangular pattern. Go ahead and select your mold here. And then for the axis, select the red horizontal axis. Select 2 for the quantity, and then enter 50 for the distance, assuming you use the same size for your mold outline. You're going to need to combine and join these two objects together. Go ahead and rename your objects. And then make sure that you save them as a mesh in some place that your teacher will be able to find them. Nice job.